Good morning, fifth graders. I'm sorry that I couldn't be there, but for today, you're going to work on an extension activity based on Esperanza Rising. Now, you did an outstanding job yesterday with your presentation, so I wanted you to know, and I'll get you those rubrics back when I return. But today, we're going to focus on some paragraph writing on specifically how Esperanza responds to the train. So we're going to go back to chapter 5, which I believe is a critical transition piece. Transition means a changeover point. This is what we're going to focus on today, finding evidence in Esperanza Rising that supports our inferences. Remember, inferences are, that's right, they're statements that you make, that you get from the text that aren't written explicitly. Also, you can analyze how Esperanza responds to a key event and what this shows about her character. And eventually, you can write an essay in which each paragraph is a clear topic, sentence, a body, and conclusion. To that last point, I have a graphic organizer that you're going to work through. But before we can get to that, I wanted to give you some text-dependent questions just to bring you back to page 58 through 80 on chapter 5. On page 66 and 67, Esperanza arrives at the train station in Zacatecas, and Alfonso leads them past the fancy car with the leather seats and the dining car to the one with wooden benches, trash, and the smell of rotting fruit and urine. She also sees many peasants crowded into the seats. How does Esperanza respond to having to ride on this train car? Use details from the text to explain your answer. Right now, on your piece of paper, write down this answer, and when you're ready, just continue. For the second one, on pages 69 and 70, Esperanza takes the doll her papa gave her out of the valise, and the young girl runs up to her and tries to hold the doll. How does Esperanza respond to the girl? And what does Esperanza's mama say or do when Esperanza reacts the way she does? Explain your answer with details from the text. Lastly, on pages 78 and 79, Esperanza sees Carmen give money and food to a begging woman. Esperanza responds by asking why the beggar woman doesn't just go and get food from the farmer market. What does this tell you about Esperanza's character at this point in the story? Cite evidence from the novel to support your answer. Just take time to do that, and then when you're done, resume. Now, for the first one, you might have written that she couldn't help but wonder if the people in the train car would steal from her. She tells Mama they cannot travel in this car because it's not clean and the people seem untrustworthy. She says that neither Papa nor Abuelita would approve of them sitting in this train car, and that can be found on page 67. For the second one, possible response is that Esperanza quickly takes the doll away and puts it back in her valise. Mama apologizes to the little girl's mother for Esperanza's rude behavior. 1. Esperanza asks why the woman doesn't just go buy food at the nearby farmer's market instead of begging for food. This shows that Esperanza doesn't understand being poor or needing to rely on other people for basic needs such as food. Take a look at this sample paragraph that you have before you. Now, in it, you'll see that it answers a particular topic. Now, I'm not going to tell you what the topic is. You're going to need to figure that out along with some of the details and explanations and so on and so forth. So it goes, one night, the ranch catches fire and burns to the ground. Esperanza and her family safely escape but lose almost everything they own to the flames. Because Esperanza and Mama do not even have clean clothes to wear, the nuns give them clothes from the poor box. When Esperanza sees the box left by the nuns, she asks, Mama, at a time like this, must we worry about some poor family who needs clothes? Mama calmly explains to Esperanza that they are the ones who are poor because they have no home, no money, and the clothes are for them. Esperanza can't understand that she is no longer wealthy and will need to be grateful for the charity of others now. So right now, take a look at your the accordion graphic organizer for paragraph writing. Here you see topic, detail, explanation, detail, explanation. Now, I sometimes like to refer to this as a CER, claim, evidence, and reasoning, but it's the same thing. It's not, TD doesn't, I don't know, it's not the same CER, TDE. But anyhow, we're going to need to look for that. And then, of course, at the end, we'll need to have a conclusion that wraps it up. So looking back at this right here, one night the ranch catches fire and burns to the ground. Esperanza family safely escape, but lose almost everything they own to the flames. What do you think the topic is here? Just looking at this. Go ahead and you'll see on the pink table there is a box with a number of different highlighters. Make sure that you take out a few different colors and take one to highlight topic. So find the topic here. The topic is the key event or challenge that Esperanza faces. The detail is what happens to Esperanza. And then you make an explanation is why is that first detail important? How does it connect to the next detail? And then the next detail is Esperanza's response to the event. And the explanation is what happens when Esperanza responds the way she does. And the conclusion is what we can infer about Esperanza's character based on how she responds. So going back to this, the topic is the key event or challenge Esperanza faces. You can see right now the topic, the key event is that they are now homeless. There's a fire and they have to leave. So right here, you can go ahead that Esperanza and her family safely escape but lose almost everything to the flames. So here you can highlight this. And that's your topic. Now, moving on to the next part. What happens to Esperanza? Well, what happens here is now hopefully you've caught on that I'm just kidding. That's what they do in response to what happens. So what actually happens, the topic is that one night their ranch catches fire and burns to the ground. So here that right there is the topic. The next part is what she has to do in response. So the key event is the fire. The detail is what happens to Esperanza. So that's that right there. She has to escape, although she loses everything. So the second point is that she escapes. Now, then you explain that this is significant because when she escaped, she had nothing. So that covers your topic, your detail, and your explanation. Now your next detail is right here, where you see the clothes from the poor box. Now having the clothes for the poor box, oh, hold on baby, I'm coming. So we're talking about the clothes from the poor box that she receives. Now she mistakenly thinks that they're donating on them, but really they're receiving it. So the detail is the clothes from the poor box they are receiving, and This shows that Esperanza doesn't fully understand her situation. And then in the end, the conclusion is just that she can't understand that she is no longer wealthy and will need to be grateful for the charity of others. So looking at right here, actually, let's go this way. So looking right here, the second detail is about the clothes, receiving clothes from the poor box. And the explanation is that now they are going to need charity instead of being the ones that give charity. And then in conclusion, you could say Esperanza not understanding that they were receiving clothes is evidence that she doesn't fully understand her situation. So work on that, and then your homework assignment is right here. Choose an event, and it's okay, baby. There's 5 different ones. If you want to pick the same one, that's fine, but there are 5 different ones if you wanted to pick different ones. And then complete the blank accordion graphic organizer about the event, and make sure you bring the completed graphic organizer to our Friday class. And on Friday, we'll take a look at that, and we'll turn that graphic organizer into a paragraph. Now, if you want to take a stab at that, you can do that too. That's up to you. But definitely, your assignment is to pick one of these, to research it, and fill out the graphic organizer. And I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow.